All right, so I watched episode 4 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. That was a pretty hot diggity ding dang ding darn gosh darn good episode. If you catch my drift there, yeah, it was very good. So first of all, one of my worries about last week's episode was that I was like I liked it, but this is getting tedious. Okay, get to the war. Rhaenyra, your whole thing about like, oh, I want to go make peace. It's too late for peace. What are you talking about? And at least I'm glad that they kind of called her out in this episode, where it was like that was just like really dumb. She like lost so much ground in the war in trying to go and make peace with her old ex friend or whatever. I always forget her name. Oh my god. Olivia Cook's character's name I always forget, but that honestly there was that. I feel like that's just a kind of a bad. I feel like that's just bad writing, because it's like obviously that's not gonna work. Like what are you talking about? So I will say Rhaenyra's character these past couple episodes have been kind of weak, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, aside from that, well, speaking of Olivia Cook's character, she was very good this episode. Really, apparently she got kind of looks like she got an abortion. Would that be Sir Kristen Cole's baby that got yeeted? I'm assuming, right? That would be the case. So that's unfortunate, I guess. And I guess while she was enduring the pain from the tea that she drank, she kind of told off. She went sicko mode on the king. She was like, "Hey, just sit there and look pretty. That's all we need you to do." Which is honestly, which was very very satisfying. One of the more satisfying moments in Game of Thrones history is seeing him just being told like, "Hey," just like somebody just being straight up or for real with the king in one of these shows, with like a character just going, "Hey, just stop." You're like, yes, you're in this position, but you didn't do anything to earn your way there. Like learn from the people around you. That was very satisfying. And even more than just that, it's just somebody like telling the king what they earnestly feel, with like no with no dancing around it. I thought that was a very good scene. And but then there's like the 1-2 punch, right? Because it's like that's very satisfying, but then we see the consequences of those actions of the infuriating the king to such a degree that he gets frustrated. He's like, "Oh, I'm not useful or whatever, and so I'm gonna drink and get drunk and go out and fight myself." And yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like you do kind of have to feel bad for him just to a certain extent, because he is a child, and he's kind of been thrust into this position. But at the same time, like you did it to yourself in a lot of ways. But yeah, so I thought the way that they handled the king and his death was also just very good, because that's one of those things about Game of Thrones that I think is like super important, that I feel like the original show definitely got away from, which is characters actually following through with giving characters like the consequences of their actions, right? Like I feel like they kind of went off the reservation when they just like made Jon Snow a traditional action hero. You know what I mean? And he just not no real consequences came to him. Like he he arguably should have died at the Battle of the Bastards, and he didn't die when they actually thought he died. You know what I mean? It's like that's not really what Game of Thrones is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a harsh world where your actions have consequences, and this was like a really good example of them of staying true to that principle, where it's like it was probably or it was clearly very satisfying for Olivia Cook to like go sicko mode on the king, but because of that, he was pushed to die. So I thought the writing there was very good. And yeah, then the big battle itself. I mean, it was what I've been wanting. I'm like, hey, this is a war, apparently, allegedly. Show me the war. And they finally did, and it was very good. It was very entertaining. You got the big dragons fighting each other. That's always fun. You got some pretty impressive, like, large armies fighting each other as well, which is cool. I really like how they treat the dragons like they're almost like the atomic bomb, where they're like, hey, using a dragon is like, it's not something that you do lightly. Which I guess, to be fair, does kind of go to what I guess maybe that does make Rhaenyra's actions a little more understandable, because it's like yes, to a certain extent it should be obvious that war is here, and you can't just like make peace, but dragons are such a huge threat that we saw like the consequences that it had for the army, for like Sir Kristen's army, that it's like you should probably try every avenue possible before getting to that point. So I guess it kind of makes Rhaenyra's perspective a little more understandable. Because yeah, like we saw what happened when even the dragon that's on their team, it was basically incinerating them and stepping on them and whatnot. So that was actually pretty cool. And what's his face? Doctor Who guy. Gosh, I forget all these fucking fantasy names. I hate them. Doctor Who guy. I also liked his whole thing at the beginning of the episode where he's tripping balls. He's being confronted with his past and his own demons and whatnot. I like that there was like a witch character that is kind of like insinuating that there are like actual like ghosts, and like she's insinuating that the castle is like actually haunted, which is kind of fun. The way that like they're playing with like maybe it's just Damon. That's his name, right? Damon. Then maybe they're just playing with Damon, just kind of tripping balls, or maybe they're playing with they're actual ghosts. There are actual ghosty ghosts here, and they don't really elaborate and make it explicitly clear what is happening. So I find that very interesting as well. So we'll see what they do with him. He is kind of in a bit of a limbo right now, where he's not really involved in the main plot. So it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate him into the main plot at some point. And yeah, overall it was just a solid episode. I guess now that the king is dead. Although I will say, I feel like it's possible that the king didn't actually die. I just want to put that out there. Like, we saw his body and it wasn't moving. We couldn't see it breathing, but he's also under armor. It is possible that he's just very hurt. I just want to put that out there. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, actually, another big angle to this is that Aegon killed him. That is. Oh wait, no. Is it Aemon? Which one is Aemon and which one is Aegon? You can't give them similar names. Whatever. The eye patch one killed the king. Because obviously the king's dragon was in a scuffle with the old lady's dragon, and he shot at both of them. He delivered the blow that led to the king, dying, or maybe not dying. You know what I mean. So, and it feels like Sir Kristen Cole saw it, I think. So it's going to be very interesting how Sir Kristen Cole ends up treating Eye Patch Kid from now on. Like, are they going to have some kind of rivalry or something? Is there going to be tension between those two characters? Because say what you will about Sir Kristen Cole, it's like he does feel a sense of duty to the position. It's like he did what he did with Rhaenyra. He's doing what he's doing with Olivia Cook's character, and it's funny because he actively goes around not being duty bound, but then he just gets so guilt ridden that it just eats away at him. So if I could definitely see them exploring a storyline of Sir Kristen Cole, like low key empathizing with Eye Patch Kid for killing the king, but that guilt still eating away at him, and that causing strife. So yeah. And then yeah, the old lady, I don't remember her name, but it was very sad to see her die. I kind of knew that it was gonna happen. Nobody explicitly spoiled it for me on social media, but it's like you open up YouTube and she's in the thumbnail and like her face is like surprised and she's riding the dragon, and you see like people's sad faces in the thumbnails, like the reactors, and it's like, okay, well, you kind of you didn't actually spoil it, but you kind of spoiled it. So I just want to point that out. It wasn't as big of a shock to me because I knew that somebody was gonna die based on like the chatter on Twitter, even though nobody explicitly said it. And then I saw like YouTuber thumbnails, and it's like, all right, well, it's probably her. Although to be fair, I didn't know that the king was gonna die as well. So we'll see how it all plays out in the next episode. But this was definitely a solid one of the better episodes of the season. Let me know what you thought. Comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.